In the heart of the Tang Empire, a cursed prince hides a monstrous secret. By night, he becomes a wolf, feared by all. Helen, a bold African girl stranded far from home, steps into a deadly palace trial, chasing money to escape. But when she meets Prince Liang, a man as broken as he is beautiful, their worlds collide. Can her courage break his curse? Or will love and betrayal tear them apart? Part 2. Like and subscribe to Jade Lantern Stories for more interesting updates. Helen's heart was a mess. Every time she looked at Prince Liang, her plan to grab the money and run felt heavier, like a stone in her chest. She wasn't supposed to care about him, but his sharp face, those dark eyes, and the way he fought his curse pulled her in. She was an African girl, tough and practical, raised to keep her head up no matter what. But here in the Tang Empire, in this glittering palace of red pillars and golden dragons, she was losing her grip. Days passed, and Helen spent more time with Liang. They walked through the palace gardens, where peach trees bloomed and koi swam in quiet ponds. He told her stories of his childhood, how he used to sneak sweets from the kitchens. His laughter soft but real. She shared bits of home, her village in Nigeria, the way her mother danced at weddings, her brother's bad jokes. Back home we say, "A fish doesn't know it's wet," she told him one afternoon, her curls bouncing as she grinned. "Means you don't see what's right in front of you." Liang looked at her, his gaze warm. "And what's in front of you, Helen?" Her breath caught. She wanted to say, "You," but her plan stopped her. Instead she laughed. "Chai, Prince, don't get too smart." But at night, the curse reminded her how serious this was. She'd sit with Liang in his chambers, watching him fight the change. His groans turned to growls, his body twisting into a wolf's. She'd talk to him, her voice steady, telling stories of African heroes to keep him calm. "You're stronger than this," she'd say, her hand close but never touching his fur. Each time his red eyes softened, and she felt a pull she couldn't ignore. She was falling for him, and it scared her more than the wolf. Lord Wei, the left state chief, was moving faster. His rumors about a wolf in China had the city buzzing. Merchants whispered in tea houses, and guards patrolled tighter. Wei wanted the throne, and exposing Liang's curse was his key. He met his aide in a dark alley, his black robe blending with the shadows. "The prince is weak," Wei said, his voice cold. "The girl's making him careless. Set a trap. Catch him as the wolf." His aide nodded, eyes glinting. "And the girl?" Wei smirked. "She's the bait." One evening, Liang took Helen to a temple outside the palace, a quiet place to pray for his father, the emperor, who was ill. The air smelled of incense, and stone dragons guarded the steps. Liang's crimson robe glowed in the fading light, his face tight with worry. "I need to be back before night," he said, glancing at the sky. Helen nodded, her heart racing. She knew what happened if he stayed out too long. They took the secret path back, a narrow trail through thick bamboo. But as they walked, Helen heard rustling. Shadows moved, guards, not the palaces, but Wei's men, swords drawn. "Liang, run!" she whispered, grabbing his arm. His eyes widened, flickering with the curse. "I can't," he gasped, clutching his chest. The moon was rising, and his body shook. The guards closed in, their boots loud on the dirt. Helen's mind raced. If they saw him change, it was over. She pulled him close, her voice low and urgent. "Liang, listen to me." She started singing, an African song her mother taught her, soft and steady, about a river that never stops flowing. Her voice trembled, but she kept going, her brown hands gripping his. Liang's shaking slowed, his eyes locked on hers. The wolf didn't come. The guards paused, confused, then backed off, thinking it was a false alarm. Helen's song had saved him. Back in his chambers, Liang was human again, but his face was hard. "You stopped it," he said, his voice rough. "How?" Helen's throat was tight. "I don't know," she lied. She knew it was her feelings, growing too strong to hide. But she couldn't tell him, not when she still planned to leave. Liang stepped closer, his idol-like features sharp in the lantern light. "You're hiding something, Helen. Feel it. If you don't love me, why stay?" His words cut deep, and tears stung her eyes. She wanted to run to keep her plan safe, but her heart wouldn't let her. Before she could think, she kissed him. Her lips met his, soft and desperate, tears rolling down her cheeks. Liang froze, then kissed her back, his hands gentle on her face. The air felt still, like the world held its breath. When they pulled apart, Liang's eyes were wide. "I didn't change," he whispered. "The wolf, it's gone." Helen's heart pounded. The seer's words echoed. Only true love could break the curse. Her love was real, and it terrified her. The palace buzzed with the news. Liang hadn't changed for 2 nights. The court, once cold, now watched Helen with cautious hope. Lady May, the stern court lady, even bowed slightly. "You're helping him," she said, her voice softer. The emperor, frail but proud, called for Liang's coronation. "My son will be king," he declared, his voice weak but firm. The palace prepared a grand ceremony, with red banners and golden drums. But Helen was breaking inside. She loved Liang, but her plan haunted her. She'd come for money, not love. If he knew, he'd hate her. She sat in her room, staring at the gold coins Liang had given her for helping him. "Chai, Helen," she whispered. "What have you done?" She decided to stay for the coronation, then leave. She'd take the money and go home, before her secret ruined everything. The coronation day came, bright and loud. Liang stood tall in a dragon-embroidered robe, his face glowing like a star. Helen wore a silk hanfu, her curls tucked under a jade pin, but her heart was heavy. The emperor placed the crown on Liang's head, and the crowd cheered, drums shaking the air. Liang looked at Helen, his smile warm, and her chest ached. She loved him, but she couldn't stay. Not when she'd lied. That night, as the palace celebrated, Helen packed her bag. She wrote a note, her hand shaking. "I'm sorry, I never meant to hurt you." She left it on Liang's desk, the gold coins heavy in her pocket. She slipped out past sleeping guards, her heart breaking with every step. The city was quiet, the moon bright. She was going home, but it didn't feel like freedom. In the palace, Liang returned to his chambers, tired but happy. He saw the note and froze. His hands trembled as he read it, his face pale. "Helen," he whispered, pain cracking his voice. Outside, Lord Wei's men gathered, their swords glinting. Wei's plan was moving, and Helen's absence left Liang exposed. The throne was in danger, and so was his heart. Liang stood in his chambers, the note crumpled in his hand. Helen was gone. The words, "I'm sorry, I never meant to hurt you," cut deeper than any sword. His heart ached, but anger burned too. She'd lied, used him, but he couldn't hate her. Her kiss had stopped his curse, her voice had calmed his wolf. He loved her, and that truth scared him more than the beast he'd been. Outside, Lord Wei's men lurked, their whispers of a wolf in China growing louder. Liang's new crown felt heavy, but losing Helen felt heavier. He called for the court seer, the old woman with eyes like a hawk. "Find her," he said, his voice steady despite the pain. The seer frowned. "She's far across the seas. Why chase a girl who left you?" Liang's jaw tightened. "Because she saved me." The seer sighed, then gave him a name, the tour agency that brought Helen to Chang'an. By dawn, Liang was on a ship, his crimson robes packed, his heart set on Nigeria. Helen sat in her family's compound in her African village, the air thick with the smell of palm oil and roasted yam. The market bustled nearby, women haggling over okra, children laughing. Her brown skin blended with the crowd, her curls loose, but her heart was elsewhere. She missed Liang, the way he smiled, the way he fought his curse. The gold coins she'd taken sat hidden under her bed, untouched. "Chai, Helen," she muttered. "You messed up." She'd run to protect him from her lie, but now she felt empty. Her mother noticed, stirring a pot of egusi soup. "My daughter, what's eating you?" she asked, her voice warm. Helen forced a smile. "Nothing, Mama." But her dreams were full of Liang's face, his soft voice, the kiss that changed everything. She thought leaving would free her, but it only trapped her in regret. One morning the village went quiet. Helen stepped outside, her wrapper tied tight, and froze. A man stood in the market square, tall and pale, his crimson tang robe shimmering in the sun. Young. His dark hair was tied back, his sharp features drawing stares from every corner. Women whispered, children pointed. He looked like a prince from a story, but his eyes were tired, searching. When they found Helen, her heart stopped. "Liang," she whispered, stepping forward. The crowd parted, eyes wide. He walked to her, his steps sure but his hands shaking. "Helen," he said, his voice low. "Why did you leave?" Her throat tightened, shame burning her cheeks. "I lied to you," she said, her voice small. "I came for money, not love. I didn't want to hurt you." Tears welled up, and she looked away. "I'm sorry." Liang stepped closer, his gaze soft but intense, like the idols her cousins loved. "I don't care why you came," he said. "You stayed. You saved me. That night you kissed me, the wolf didn't come. You broke the curse." Helen's eyes widened. "But I ran," she said. He smiled, small but real. "And I found you." He took her hand, his touch warm. "I love you, Helen. Come back. Be my queen." Her heart raced, torn between fear and hope. The crowd watched, her mother smiling from the compound gate. "Chai, this man crossed the world for you," her mother called, her African laugh loud. Helen looked at Liang, his eyes steady, and something broke free inside her. "You're crazy, Prince," she said, her voice shaky but warm. "But I love you too." She hugged him, her curls brushing his face, and the crowd cheered, clapping like it was a festival. Liang stayed in the village for days, learning her world. He ate spicy jollof rice, wincing at the heat, and laughed when Helen's brothers teased him. "This prince can't handle pepper," they said, grinning. Helen taught him an African dance, her hips swaying, his steps clumsy but earnest. At night, they sat under a mango tree, talking about their fears, their hopes. "I was scared to trust you," Liang admitted. "But you're my home now." Helen's heart swelled. She was ready to go back. They sailed to Chang'an, Helen's wrapper packed beside Liang's robes. The palace was as grand as ever, but tension hung heavy. Lord Wei's rumors had spread, and some nobles doubted Liang's strength. "A king who was a beast," they whispered. Wei saw his chance. At a court meeting he stood, his voice sharp. "The prince hid a curse. He's unfit to rule." Guards loyal to Wei stepped forward, swords ready. Liang faced them, his crown gleaming, his face calm. "I was cursed," he said, his voice clear. "But love broke it." He took Helen's hand, her brown skin glowing beside his pale fingers. "This woman, a stranger to our land, saved me. She's my strength, and she'll be your queen." The court gasped, but Helen stood tall, her African pride shining. "Chai, you all need to relax," she said, her smile bold. "We've got this." Laughter rippled, breaking the tension. Wei's face twisted. "She's a liar," he shouted, pulling a scroll from his robe. A forged letter claiming Helen was a spy. But Liang was ready. He'd found proof of Wei's schemes. Letters plotting to seize the throne. Guards seized Wei, dragging him away as he cursed. The court bowed to Liang, their doubts gone. Helen squeezed his hand, her heart full. The wedding was a wonder. The palace courtyard glowed with lanterns, red and gold banners waving. Helen wore a hanfu embroidered with dragons and egrets, her curls adorned with jade pins. Liang looked like a god, his robe flowing, his eyes locked on her. They blended their worlds. African drummers joined Chinese flutes, and Helen's mother, who'd come for the day, danced with palace maids. "My daughter, a queen," she laughed, hugging Helen tight. As they stood before the emperor, frail but smiling, Liang placed a crown on Helen's head. "You're my heart," he whispered. She grinned, her African sass peeking through. "And you're stuck with me, Prince." The crowd cheered, petals falling like rain. For the first time, Helen felt she belonged, not just in Nigeria but here with him. That night, they stood on a balcony, the city sparkling below. Liang's curse was gone, his throne secure. Helen leaned against him, her wrapper over her hanfu, a mix of their worlds. "What's next, King?" she asked, teasing. He smiled, his idol-like face soft. "Whatever comes, we face it together." She nodded, her heart light. The wolf was gone, but their story was just beginning.